Chosen one, pause, breathe, listen. This isn't a coincidence. This message found you because heaven aligned time, spirit, and energy just to get your attention. You didn't stumble here by chance, you were led. The world around you has been shifting. Things you couldn't explain have been breaking down and building up. Why? Because you are at the final gate before breakthrough. Heaven has whispered, the universe has nudged, and now God is declaring, this is it, this is the moment. The past? It wasn't wasted, it was preparation. The pain? Not punishment, it was positioning. Your waiting was never in vain. What happens next is critical. You can't go back to who you were. You aren't that person anymore. There's fire in your bones and divine seed in your soul. Now is not the time to hesitate. Now is the time to act, to rise, to receive. But pay great attention. You are being asked to perform only one thing before everything else happens, before your breakthrough occurs, and before the doors open. Pay attention. See this video through to the finish. Let your heart open. Remain in the moment. Don't let the call slip. Additionally, enter 777 as a heavenly signal that you are ready and leave your best wishes in the comments section to light up the environment. When said with trust, wishes have great power because the universe hears them and acts accordingly. If you release your purpose with the appropriate intensity and at the proper moment, it may completely change the trajectory of your destiny. Now is the moment. You don't have a huge wish. It's not too far to your dream. There is no delay in your triumph. It has been arranged by divine decree. Select one now, like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and let's get started. The need for alignment. This is your call to alignment, chosen one. You have weathered the trial, felt the turbulence, and stood in the fire for longer than most people realize. However, it was the pre-shift test. For everything superfluous to burn away, you had to be burned. What you're carrying today is a divine duty, not merely a vision. Furthermore, the last stage has nothing to do with demonstrating anything, running faster, or battling harder. It involves paying close attention to the guidance that God has been waiting to whisper into your soul. It's light now, but you've been battling in the dark. This is your sunshine, even if you've been braving storms. This message is an activation, not a form of amusement. This is your spiritual signal. Therefore, you're being urged to pause, feel, and receive. Not tomorrow, not next week, but right now. The divine plan for your ascent is coming to pass. It's about what you're ultimately prepared to hear, not simply what you see. In actuality, you've always anticipated this day. It's not only a coincidence that things have been intense recently. It's a heavenly recalibration. This includes the odd changes in your emotions, the silent need to distance yourself from distractions, and the strong need for isolation. To enable you to hear what is only audible on this level, heaven has been modifying your frequency. You weren't insane to distance yourself from certain individuals. Refusing the noise wasn't a mistake. All of it served to teach you to recognize the reality, which is that this is the last stage. The next level will only be accessible by obedience, not through hard work. And listening is the first step towards obeying. In the quiet, your spirit has heard murmurs. There's going to be a major event. There will be something new soon. It wasn't a work of fiction. Those are not wishful thoughts. Prophecy was swelling in your bones at that moment. The last hour before manifestation is upon you. But pay attention. You will postpone the breakthrough if you disregard the advice. Disregarding this warning will delay what heaven is attempting to do. Don't allow the old doubtful voice to prevent you from receiving your heavenly gift. You have to choose faith this time. Even if you don't know everything, if the how is unclear, or if the way seems to be invisible, you must say yes this time. Because hearing brings about heavenly action, pay attention. You've prayed already. You've done the job already. You waited already. This is about going in, not about earning. You only need to align more, not do more. You only need to trust what God has spoken about you. You don't need to prove anything. This is the time to give up more deeply. It is not the time to strive harder. Your calm, your silence, and your sensitivity to the voice of God are what make you strong, not your weapon. And you can miss the richness that comes with that whisper if you miss it. This video is important because of this. Type Amen to embrace the angel's blessings. Show your support by giving super thanks up to $20. The final preparation and divine clearing. The ancient route is coming to an end. You've sensed it already. Things that formerly worked aren't functioning anymore. The people who once stood with you have stopped talking. Once open doors have inexplicably closed. It's holy redirection, not sabotage. In order to direct you to the one door that leads to everything you've been hoping for, the divine is cleaning your path, not to punish you. Listen to the stillness instead of fighting it. Lean towards the unknown rather than being afraid of it. Confirmation is the sensation of anxiousness in your chest. A spiritual thing is on its way, and it's coming right now. With God's blessings, you are welcome to bless this message by using YouTube's Super Thanks button to give a wonderful gift of $20 or more. Let's work together to share love, hope, and faith, illuminating not just your own life, but also the lives of others in most need. Innumerable individuals find inspiration and comfort in your giving. The breakthrough has been waiting for you to slow down, to loosen your hold on control, to stop overanalyzing and begin paying attention. You aren't waiting for a breakthrough. You've survived the most difficult part, chosen one. You are now entering the hallowed realm of listening. You must tune your soul to God's frequency. He is not playing hide and seek. He is communicating plainly. And doubt, fear, or distraction cannot pick up the frequency of paradise. It can only be acquired by surrender, trust, and presence. What if you already have everything you requested? What if your heart hasn't stopped long enough to accept it, and that's the only reason it hasn't reached your hands yet? This last phase is a spiritual attunement rather than a duty. Listen to what God is saying. You just need to trust me enough to receive it. You don't have to earn it anymore. Give it up. Create room. This is your last preparation. This is the quiet before the blessed storm of the supernatural. And because what's coming is already pursuing you, you won't need to pursue anything. Heaven is now in motion. The heavenly countdown has already started, and everything is awaiting your yes. Extreme trust and inward transformation. You're not behind schedule, chosen one. You're not running late. We don't forget you. Even though your present situation may seem perplexing, you are in a prime position for divine alignment, since this is the portion of the trip when trust is the only compass that works and rationality fails. While God is attempting to expose you to overflow, the old cycle is struggling to stay focused on survival. But you have to hear him first. You need to hear this. This message wasn't meant to excite you. Rather, it was meant to break the cycle of procrastination and set your feet squarely on the road to destiny. Allow this to sink in. The last phase is internal before it's outward. Before anything is material, it is energy. Prioritizing spiritual posture above tangible outcomes is key. All too often, when heaven is waiting for us to move inside, we wait for the outer world to change. This is a surrender issue, an attitude issue, and a heart issue. Are you really prepared to let go of things that no longer fulfill your purpose? Are you prepared to become the version of yourself that is driven by trust rather than fear? Because extreme trust is what this phase calls for. The sort that, even when you don't know what's going to happen next, calms your fear. This season has been weighty for a reason. The strain of metamorphosis seeking to break through the shell you've outgrown was the reason for the weight on your chest. Not only outside responsibilities. You are breaking out rather than breaking down. You are getting ready for a heavenly download. And because what is occurring to you is unusual, you are unable to express it to anybody else. This is sacred land, a sacred duty. You have been selected to bear what other people would crumble beneath. But the moment has come. Your wings, your spiritual identity, your new phase are all sprouting when the cocoon rips apart. Because faith isn't loud. Heaven leans in at this point and asks, "Do you trust me?" Without using words, but rather with silence, tranquility, and obedience. Faith is not ostentatious. Faith is often motionless. And your last test is that quiet. Will you be able to pause your running long enough to get heavenly guidance? Right now, Can you keep the noise down long enough to hear what heaven has to say? Because if you do, if you pay attention, you will discover something profound. The plan is already written, and it is more exquisite than you could have ever dreamed. Type Amen to embrace the angel's blessings. Show your support by giving super thanks up to $20. Now is not the time to turn around. It's too far for you. The suffering you have gone through has not been in vain. The quiet you experienced was preparation, not desertion. What was too tiny for your future was being stripped away by God. What you couldn't bring with you, He was uprooting. You're now prepared to receive the next heavenly lesson now that the distractions have subsided and the road has been cleansed. However, it's easy. Don't make things too complicated. Simply pay attention. Not with your spirit, not with your ears, not with your preparedness, nor with your whole focus. Give up the urge to know everything. This last phase is about trust, not strategies. So let go of attempting to manage the how. Energy, not effort, is the key. It's not strategy, it's capitulation. You're entering a world where miracles happen because you linked with them, not because you earned them. The way destiny plays out. Before the floodgates open, this is the last message. Your ongoing spiritual tension is preparedness rather than opposition. Something significant is going to occur, as your spirit knows. You've been noticing shifts in the atmosphere, experiencing peculiar surges of lucidity, and waking up at unexpected hours. Divine alignment is what it is. You're not dreaming. That's paradise becoming louder. Allow it to pass you by. This is true. Now is the time. You own this. You won't be touched by the things that used to hold you back. You won't be denied by those who didn't see you. Now, the resources you previously pleaded for will easily find you. Why? Due to a change in your frequency. Because you joined the stream of divine supply the instant you started listening, really listening. God favors clarity rather than cacophony. And what you now hold is clarity. Type Amen to embrace the angel's blessings. Show your support by giving super thanks up to $20. In your soul, every unsolved issue will soon be addressed. Not with facts, but with knowledge. It will be obvious to you what to do. You'll just know who to speak with. You'll just know when to take action. The heavenly compass you possess is this knowledge. Your secret is this silence. Additionally, this mail serves as your confirmation. This isn't something you happen onto by chance. This is where you're called and guided. Heaven put this moment in your timeline, and it's real, which is why it feels so intense. You are on the precipice of your heavenly potential. Don't turn around. Don't think twice. Step ahead with a soul full of pure fire. The last phase is about being more, being open, being ready, and being present, rather than doing more. You've changed since last year. Even from last month, you have changed. You are changing quickly in a miraculous and heavenly way. And a change in education follows that progression. New seasons won't work with old tactics. Heaven has revised your goal, and with it come new resources, new partners, a new vision, and new power. For this reason, you need to pay attention. However, it all begins with your compliance, your silence, and your yes. You're no longer wandering aimlessly across the woods, chosen one. Divine force is leading you towards the place that was promised to you all along. It hasn't been a haphazard adventure. All of the detours were amazing. Each delay was planned. The directive is now crystal clear. Now is the time to listen with submission as well as purpose. You've had a glimpse of your fate. Even if you were unable to articulate it, you felt the weight of your calling. You had a deep-seated sense that your name was associated with something enormous. But pressure came from that knowledge. Resistance resulted. It caused you to doubt your suitability for the position you were called to. However, let this be the last time you have self-doubt. Being present is what is being expected of you, not perfection. You're being extended, which is why you've been stretched recently. Though everything seems like it's breaking, expansion is really forming. The following level is greater, so it's essential boosting your ability to handle what's next. The blessing weighs more, the stage is larger, and you can't afford to enter it without having your spirit in complete alignment. This last phase is about posture, the stance of bravery, openness, and humility, rather than performance. Paying attention to what has already been happening inside of you. The subtle cues, the recurring indications, the holy patterns, is what it means to listen, not to wait for a booming voice from above. You already know what God has been calling you to do, and He speaks clearly rather than incoherently. Simply put, you've been afraid to acknowledge it. But now is the time for your freedom. Now, the dread that has been impeding your advancement is dispelling. The falsehoods that have kept you from taking action are becoming weaker. Now that you're in the realm of what if it works? What if everything works out better than you could have ever imagined? The fear that kept asking, what if it fails, is muted. What if the clarity, the tranquility, the love, and the richness were all closer? What if it's already yours, and it only needs your obedience to be complete? The last command is to align and receive. Not force, but flow. Heaven teaches you to accept your value, whereas the world taught you to work hard for it. When your soul aligns with divine timing, you attract everything. You don't need to pursue anything. Being in the flow of grace, the flow of heavenly supply, the flow of favor that cannot be won but only received, is more important than working harder. And listening is the only way to get into that flow. When you're so distracted that you can't hear heavenly guidance, when your mind is racing, it is impossible to receive spiritual downloads. That explains why there has been such a heavy hush recently. In order for you to hear it last, God has been making room inside of you. Now that the commotion has subsided, you're prepared to enter the season that has been waiting for you and to get the codes for your next ascent. This is your affirmation. Heaven was making space, which is why everything began to drift away. It was preparation, not punishment. When the relationship ended, the door closed, and the plan failed. It was a heavenly delay. Development was the source of the pain. The downloads will start now that the distractions have been eliminated. Your soul will connect with things you hear in your spirit that don't make sense to your head. Where you once felt terror, you will now sense calm. Where you once felt afraid, you will now feel assured. That's the change. The indication is that the supernatural is taking place there. It can't be hurried. It's already occurring. This isn't a race. It's a reveal, and what's being revealed is your true self. Not the version of you that was shaped by survival, not the version of you that was built on trauma, but the divine version of you that was chosen before the world ever formed. The version that walks with wisdom, the version that leads with clarity, the version that listens and moves as heaven speaks. You are entering a state of celestial consciousness. Your soul is in alignment, your heart is prepared, and your ears are open. So everything that has attempted to divert you from this moment is now vanquished. You are being reintroduced to your destiny. You don't have no power. A miracle is not what you're waiting for. You are approaching it. Heaven is not finished with you. In fact, it is just getting started, as shown by the fact that you're still here, breathing and believing. The window is opening, which is why you feel this hurry. There's a hint of the last command. Now that the last step is coming to pass, you are prepared to do it with complete trust. The heavenly preparation is already underway. The cosmos is waiting for your movement, not a forced one, but a divine one, and everything is aligning. The sort that begins with silence. It's the whisper-starting sort, the sort that permanently alters everything. This is the time, the one your spirit has been waiting for, the chosen one. This is sacred, not hype. This is confirmation, not a coincidence. The moment has come. Your silence, chosen one, is now hallowed rather than meaningless. Your time spent in silent contemplation was heavenly recalibration, not a waste. Waiting is a weapon in the kingdom, but the world taught you that it implies nothing is occurring. Listening is combat, and your greatest spiritual instrument at the moment is your capacity for listening. Heaven is talking tactics. Heaven is opening doors that need frequency rather than force to open.